What do a limo driver, a licensed companion, a world-class top chef, Eve Dallas, and New York's best party planner have in common? Hey, welcome to the Deluise Book Series. I'm Kristina, Kristina. I read books, talk books. I love series books. I'm a series person. I like to read series. I like to read about the character progression from book to book to book. I get involved in the characters. It gets to the point, if you've seen some of the fan Facebook pages or anything, we talk about the people like they're real, like they're really real. So today we are talking about, please hit the like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up, let me know I'm doing a good job. It's Kristina, Kristina. I sometimes forget if I do that or not, so forgive me. I read books, I talk series books. I like to read the progression of characters from book to book to book. This is one of my favorite series. There's over 50 books or 60 books now in the series. And I just love Eve Dallas. She's in New York City Police and Security Department. And that's how she sees herself. That's her vision of herself. The world's vision is that she's Roarke's cop and she's the Icove cop. That's how the world sees. She's trying to fight it, but she's losing. So she's been married to Roarke, one of the richest guys in the world, for about 2 years now. Eve grew up in the New York City foster program, so she had very limited social settings. She wasn't never given gifts. She did not participate in social events, and some parts of her childhood give her severe nightmares that will be addressed soon in some of the future books. It's been addressed earlier, and Eve is learning to live with it. And the dreams are getting less and less, and she's been able to solve a few pieces of the puzzle along the way. But there's a big event coming up in New York to Dallas. It's the only book in the series that doesn't have death in it, unless, of course, you include Remember When and Big Jack. Those are a two-parter book. Mavis is her best friend. She's also a pop star. She just had a brand new daughter, Bella. Leonardo is her husband. Nadine is the news on-air crime reporter for Channel 75. She's also the writer of the Icove book. Trina is the hairdresser and friend. Mira is the shrink. Feeney is the captain of EDD. Peabody is her partner, and McNabb is her partner in life. Peabody's a detective, McNabb is a detective, and he works in the electronic division, along with Feeney, who's the captain in electronic division, and he was also her original trainer. So, and Morris is the coroner, and Dickhead, and the Queen of Hair and Fiber. I forget what her name is. They're all interconnected. They've all got friendships now. They're all growing. The relationships are growing. Somerset is Roarke's sort of kind of father, but he's also their major domo or butler. He likes to see to the house. And him and Eve have a unique relationship. So, and in this book, they've been on honeymoon. And they went to, I didn't mention it too much earlier, and I guess I should have. In one of the earlier books, Roarke discovered who his real mother was, not the woman who he thought was his mother, but he discovered his real mother, and he discovered his real family, and he's been getting to know them. They're real, honest, nice people. They don't want stuff from him. He figured he's always got this chip on his shoulder that when they learn who he is, they got their hand down, and they don't. These people they consider him family, and they love him because he's family, not because he's the richest person in the entire world. And they own a farm in Ireland, and Eve and Roarke have gone on a vacation that they negotiated with. I love their negotiations. He's like, we need to go for like he'll go for something like 8 weeks. And she's like, no way, 2. And he's like, no, how about 4? And she's like, 3, that's my final answer. And he's like, yes. She's like, you planned 3 the whole time. And he's like, well, he knows how to negotiate. So when they start this book, they're in Ireland and they're going to see his family. And we phrase it again that Eve Dallas grew up in the foster program in the city, in a city. She does not know animals and she is afraid of all animals. And it's hysterical. The road was a killer, hardly wider than a decent stream of spit and snaking like a cobra between giant bushes loaded with strange flowers that resembled drops of blood. She had to remind herself that the trip had been her idea. Love was another killer. But how could she have known driving in a Western Ireland meant risking life and limb at every curve? Rural Ireland, she thought, holding her breath as they zipped around the next turn on the journey of death. She does. She does. She'd rather be whipping through Manhattan. So tell me, what would you rather be doing? Driving along a countryside road or by yourself, casually driving? Or would you rather be sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic in Manhattan? We see things differently. Where the towns were barely a hiccup on the landscape and where she was pretty damn sure the cows outnumbered the people and the sheep outnumbered the cows. And why didn't that cause anyone concern? She wondered, didn't people consider what would happen if armies of farm animals united in revolt? She does. She does. When Murder Road finally curved its way out of the blood-dropped bushes, the world opened up into fields and hills, green, eerily green, against a sky stacked with clouds that couldn't decide if they wanted to rain or just sit there ominously. And she knew those dots all over the green were sheep and cows, probably discussing war strategy. She'd actually seen them hanging around those weird and a little bit fascinating stone ruins, cowering, tumbling places that had maybe been castle or forts, a good place for armies of farm animals to plot their revolt. You gotta love you. You have got to love you. Now, she does something for Roarke. So you'll have to read the earlier books to get all the intimate details. But like I said, he's met his family for the first time, and she's going to go there, and they're going to spend the weekend with the family. And so his mother was killed by his father, and this is all new, brand new stuff to him. And like her identity is brand new stuff to him. And so, like they did for Crack, when Crack's sister died, they buried a tree in her honor. So Eve is burying a tree in Roarke's mother's honor, and she had a park installed. And where is the okay, so she takes Roarke out there. There's that. He glanced around and her nerves started to jingle. Are you after another picnic? It's a perfect place for it. You like it? It's charming. He took her hand and she caught the scent of the fields on him, the green of it. Want a push on the swing? Maybe. Neither one of us got much of a childhood, did we, when we were children? With her hand in his, he began to walk. I didn't realize there was a park here. A nice spot, near enough to the village and just out enough to make it an adventure. The trees are young, so I suppose it's new, and being and still being done, he added, noting the digging equipment and tarp supplies. Yeah, still needs some work. She guided him around as subtly as she could beyond the little house to the gurgling fountain. A fine day like this, I'm surprised it's not packed with kids. It's not actually officially open for business. All to ourselves then. Sean's along with us. He'd likely enjoy a ramp through. Yeah, maybe, she thought. He'd look at the fountain, but she'd have known he'd be more interested in the equipment, probably speculating on what was left to be done. So there's this thing. Huh? He glanced around and back at her. Geez, frustrated, she turned him around and all but shoved his face into the plaque on the fountain. Siobhan Brodie Memorial Park, dedicated by her son. Well, he said nothing. He shoved her hands in her pockets. So, well, happy anniversary a few days early. He looked at her then and just stared at her with those wonderful violet blue eyes and just said her name. Just, Eve. I got the idea when the Irish invaded last fall and walked it by Sinead. She and the rest of them ran with it. Mostly I just sent money. Hell, your money, since it's what you dumped in that account for me when we got married, so. Eve, he repeated and drew her in, hard-pressed, his face to her hair. She heard him draw a breath, a long and quiet release as his arms tightened around her. So it's good. He didn't speak for a moment, only ran his hand up and down her back. What a woman you are, he murmured, and then she heard some emotions in it, the way the iris thickened just a bit in his voice, and saw in those vivid eyes when he drew back, that you would think of this, that you would do this. Sinead and the rest did the heavy lifting. He shook his head, kissed her. Like the breath, long and quiet. I can't thank you enough. There isn't enough thanks. I just can't say what this means to me, even to you. I don't have the words for it. He took her hands, both of them, both to his lips. Agra, you stagger me. So it's good. He framed her face now, touched his lips to her brow, then looked in her eyes and spoke Irish. Come again? When he smiled now, it lit her up. I said you're the beat of my heart, the breath in my body, the light in my soul. Moved to melting, she shook his wrist. Even when I'm the pain in your ass, particularly then. He turned to study the plaque. It's a lovely, simple, and lovely. Well, you're a simple guy. He laughed as she wanted him to. I've come to know her a little through the family. This would mean a great deal to her. A safe place for children to play, he said, looking around again, for families to come, young people sitting on the grass, doing schoolwork, listening to music, practicing on the football patch. I don't get why they call it a pitch when it's football, which isn't actually football at all, but killer soccer. It's not baseball, that's for sure. People over here don't have two clues about real baseball, which is just too bad for them. He laughed again, took her hand, gave it a swing. We should call the rest in and you can show me around. Sure. I just love it. I just love it. I just do. So she gets back to New York, and a limo driver is killed with a boss crow. And then a licensed companion is killed. And then a top chef is killed. And then Adriana Jones is killed in the park. And then it's Dallas's turn. And apparently some very wealthy gentlemen think it's a sport. Now, we had another book earlier. I forget. Romance and Death or Innocent. No, not Innocent of Death. I forget what the title was. I'd have to look it up. It's on the tip of my tongue. The two young boys had the contest of how many women they could score, and they accidentally killed one, and then they decided they were going to keep killing women. Well, these two gentlemen, and we've got a little of Edgar Allan Poe going here. Sylvester B. Moriarty and Winston Dudley have been a sport of killing people for years. And they find there's also some personal relationships that help Eve solve the issue, solve the crimes. They've had some personal relationships that have gone south, and they let them go. And sometimes they didn't let them go. Sometimes they killed them. So it's a really good murder mystery. I love the stuff with Eve and Roarke in the beginning in Ireland, and how Eve gets the bad guys to confess at the end. It's a really good book, and it's book 31 in the J.D. Robb Eve Dallas Mystery Series. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I did a good job. I'm just reading books, talking books. That's all I can do. I have no special effects, no editing skills, nothing like that. So I would really appreciate it if you'd hit the like and subscribe, and hope you're enjoying my binge read of J.D. Robb Eve Dallas. Thank you.